Okay, here we are. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and we're talking here. Okay, so I have a question for you as a coach. So we're gonna just dive into this like very coachy thing. But I hope this I've found in doing these and watching some of them back that my speech goes like that because that is what my brain is doing in here. So you know that there's something that I have to say. I've gone on a tangent and I'll come back to it, but I'm not there yet. So I think I want to preface this saying that I feel like this request that I have today is very coachy. And at the same time, I'm hoping that it will actually, and that we can actually talk about it in a way that will support people that are looking at like what to bring or how to work with a coach,
Okay.
how to get the most out of it. Okay. Back to the request. Okay. Which is about a coaching request. Okay. And I'm curious how you think about what to bring to your coach slash how to support your clients and what to bring to you. A tiny bit of backstory here or content here. Um, I simultaneously have, because what I do is my clients are a reflection for me as much as I am a reflection for them, if not more. I've got a bunch of clients that um, they're getting just had another insight. Going to keep talking. Um, hit this pattern of I don't really know what I want to talk like I want to talk about something, but I can't distill it into what the request is. And I was getting people asking, well, what do you think we should talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not in there with you. So that was kind of happening. This is getting a little bit better now because I am really looking at this with me. And so I'm being able to support them. But I noticed that in my coaching, I am having a hard time coming up with my coaching requests too. And part of this is that I think we've been trained, I have been trained that coaching is not necessarily fix my problem.
Mm.
So when there is no problem to fix, what are we talking about today? And it takes me a good long time to come up with something, and eventually I can bottom line. But I noticed that my coaching requests are kind of sitting in the same vein, and I can almost like coach myself through it. I'm like, well, if I go a little bit further, it's like, blah, blah, blah. Here it is, right? Here's my answer. On one hand, that's great. On the other hand, I'm going, how do other people look at this and get deeper? So that is my query for you is how do you think about it?
Mm. I just had so many thoughts come up in response to that question. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Let's hear them all.
Okay, first of all, normalization is like I you okay? Just gonna let you cough that out. Hello, my darling. Hello, my darling. I don't want to keep talking in case Raven comes back and she's like, I could not focus on what you were saying because I was coughing my brains out.
I can hear you. I'm just coughing and I'm okay.
Okay, great. Then I will keep talking. Okay, normalization is there are first of all starting over here, which is what I always try to do is look at how this shows up for me in my experience of the world. I have so many coaching sessions where I show up and my coach is like, "What are we talking about today?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure." Um I have reached a point in my projects where the action that I'm taking is pretty well defined. Like we know what I'm up to, we know what my stops are, we've talked ad nauseum about them. And so there's a little bit of this experience of like we know. And one of the things that's really supportive in that space for me is that my coach always really stands for um well, okay, so she'll ask, and usually I'll be like, these are some of the things that have been on my mind for the last week or the last 2 weeks, depending on how long it's been, because we do 3 sessions a month. And she really stands for, okay, so if we were to talk about that, what would you want to get out of it? So before we start talking about anything that I've brought, she really stands for me being in the driver's seat of the session to identify, okay, so if we were to spend the next 50 minutes talking about the things that I just kind of teased out that are on my mind, for what? For what purpose? Which I think is really, really important to build as a muscle for us and for our clients, because the whole idea of coaching is that rather than letting life happen to us, rather than being we call it at the effect, rather than being a victim of our circumstances, we say, I can identify where I am at point A, I can identify what I want point B of my life to look like, and here's who I need to be, who I need to step into and become, and the action that I need to take to create this reality. And in my coach standing for me to be like, great, okay, like for what reason would we talk about that stuff? Every single time we have that conversation, I have to build that muscle of like, okay, rather than just being like a victim of the circumstances of this conversation and we'll end up where we end up, I have to say, okay, here's what I want my life to look like at the end of this conversation. And oftentimes I have kind of stopped judging myself for not bringing like a fully fleshed out coaching request, because some of our best conversations are when I come in and I'm like, I don't know, Casey, I don't know. I'm doing my thing. We've distinguished so much. Like we know what I'm up to. We know what my survival mechanism's up to. We know what action I need to take. I just think I need to just like keep taking it. So, and so oftentimes that forces us to kind of get into the like deeper level conversations because the surface feels handled. So that's the first thing that I was thinking about in like my experience of it. I will also say I've been doing this. I've been doing this for 8 years now. So I have some facility with ensuring and getting support to make sure that we are still like having coaching conversations, not fixing problems, working on like a deeper meaning, a deeper contextual conversation around building this ideal future that I want, that I think sometimes newer clients don't have. And so in that realm, for my clients, the two main places that I focus on are always having projects, always having projects. Much like you, I had to look at, like, I used to get clients constantly who had like the most vague projects they were working on. I just want to enjoy my life more. Okay. What? What does that look like? What would you have? What are we creating as the measure of you enjoying your life more? And I do think that some of that came from like a fear of like, I don't want to declare what the thing is that I'm working on. And so once I worked on that for myself, it started showing up less with my clients. But it's really tough to look at how is this conversation that we're having going to serve you to get from point A to point B if you don't have a really well-defined point B
Mm.
that you're working towards? So I started really insisting that my clients come with projects, with milestones, so that we could have the conversation. Okay, how does this relate to your projects? Because a lot of times it didn't. It was just like, I don't know, I have this feeling that I want to talk about, or something feels wrong in my life and I want to talk about it. And it's like, sorry, that's not the game we play here. If you want to get a therapist,
Mm.
feel free. Um, but if it's not, if you can't identify how this is going to move your projects forward, then it isn't even a conversation that we need to be having.
Mm.
And I straight up have trained my clients in what's the topic, what's the objective, what's the measure, what's the meaning, rather than and this is coaching jargon that I just spit out, but it's this training that Raven and I have both gotten in as a coach. How do we support our clients to kind of flesh out exactly where we're going with a coaching conversation and what the client wants to get out of it, and rather than it being like some kind of like secret question answering path that I take, I'm like, wait, why am I doing all this work? You're in charge here. Like, here's what I need you to know.
Thank you. I got so much out of what you just said. So a couple of things that just hit me is one, you know, as you put out there, it's our job to meet the client where they are. I'm 10 years into this and somebody else is a year, 2 years, and you're right, they're in a different place. Um, I like working with projects as well. I think that that's a great place to start. And I noticed that, uh, I'm going through this MCC prep program and it's very expansive. It's very client driven. And I'm noticing as we're talking, I'm like, yeah, I think those skills are really important, even with new clients. But you put in there, you've got to train your clients, right? Like I am the expert on on how to have a coaching session quite, in the beginning, at least I'm the expert. And so while I can put some of those MCC skills, interweave them into the conversation, it's likely not going to be an entirely, MCC approach call, which I'm getting. I'm like, oh, that's why you have to have the depth of relationship too, right? You have to have a client that gets it. I love that you train your clients on what is the topic, what is the meaning, what is the objective, what is the measure, right at the beginning to go with the jargon. But that's actually something that is empowering to know and to, as we're kind of training a more expansive way of thinking about ourselves. And I think, as you were talking about that, I'm like, I'm not training my client to think like I do. I'm just training them to open it up for themselves
Mm.
and to use this framework to think about what they're bringing to the call. The other thing that I got out of what you said that I just remembered for myself is that my process isn't wrong. I have had um, a couple of experiences lately where I see I'm doing it right. Like this is it. I think slowly
Mm.
and I feel like I need to process faster for somebody else. So I did this really cool coaching demo. I was the client for my coach. in a group to do a demo. And I worked so hard to come up with my coaching request because I wanted to be a good demo client. And we had 30 minutes, which is truncated. My coach and I usually work together for 90
Oh, okay.
at a
Wow.
time. Yeah. So, and it's great because I need the time and space to think. And so a lot of our call is she'll ask a powerful question and I sit and ruminate in that and come up with, like, I'm able to hear the answer. In 30 minutes, if I'm a performer, I don't have that time. And so I want to create an answer for her or for the group, right? And it's just not, I can do it a little bit and like there's something probably valuable in that for me. But as you were talking about it, I'm like, what do I want out of that? What am I trying to get out of going faster? What is the end result for me? What's in it for me to think faster or go deeper faster? And I don't think that I have the answer to that yet of why, other than because I think right now it's driven by my performance mechanism. It's driven by be the most helpful, right? Rather than really having it come from me. So I feel like that's something. It's like, yeah, maybe you know, maybe I'm a great demo client because of that, but maybe I'm not, in that way. It's like, look, if we're doing anything other than getting a coaching request from me, maybe that's not what I want to demo, right? It's like, well, because my coaching requests do take some time to flesh out. I usually have an idea of like, I want to be, I want to talk about blah, blah, blah. But then the rest of it um, takes some time to pull apart. And that's just part of me. The third thing that I got out of what you said is that sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's not about solving the problem, it's about getting velocity, right? Like we talk about that, but I feel like I just got that in a different way of, hey, if I spend an hour or 90 minutes, or what, 30 minutes talking about this, then I'll get there faster than if I spend the next 2 days just brooding about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it is that place of like, well, look, I mean, for me right now, like all my stuff is like, I need to build my business, right? Like, um, and so when I'm coming to a call, when I'm coming to coach with my coach, I'm like, I mean, that's where so much of my focus is. And I it start coming from that place um of fix it, right? Or something like, if I just had this hour to, instead of doing this, work on outreach or whatever. And it's like, well, hold on. What's driving that? Like, what, I have all the other hours in the week, except the ones that I'm with my clients. What am I doing there? What's in the way? And what is the thing that's going to really open that up for me in the next hour? What's the conversation that I need to have? Because while I have gotten better at sitting and giving myself time and space alone, do it way better when I'm with somebody.
Yeah.
So if I think about it, about getting velocity, of just like, yeah, I mean, I know where I'm going. I know what I want to unlock. I'm trying to generate, 3 more clients this spring, for longer contracts, um, to work on this stuff, then it's like, okay, well, this hour isn't about reaching out to them or, creating something else, but it's about who I need to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and consider too that it's not just about the action that we're taking in the next week or two between when we talk to our coach, and then talk to our coach again. The thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about velocity, which is so funny, I literally almost ended my coaching relationship with my coach because I was like, I mean, I like came to a really like kind of zen, like empowered space of like, I just need to keep showing up every single day, and I trust that what is for me is coming to me and is here, and I'm going to create it, and all I have to do is keep showing up. So if I just have to keep showing up every day, maybe
Hmm.
coaching right now has I'm complete in it. And the more I sat with that, the more I was like, I still was in this space of like, eventually it'll come to me, maybe in 10, 15 years. And I was like, what if we got to have it in a year? Maybe that's the next step of coaching for you.
Yeah.
And um uh but the thought that I had as you were talking is that I can identify so many places as I just go throughout my day where I'm like, oh man, 3 years ago, I would have struggled with this. I would have avoided this. It would have taken me weeks, weeks. And now I look and I'm like, oh, my survival mechanism is doing that thing again. Okay. Thanks, baby.
Hmm.
You're trying to keep me safe, but I can put you down. And I have a strong enough muscle to recognize it, acknowledge it, put it down, and take the action. So there's this idea that, like, oh, as you were saying, like, uh, I have to, I build velocity. It might not be velocity that you identify this week, but it might be velocity that 2 years down the road, you're like, man, sure, I'm glad I had that conversation with my coach 2 years ago
Hmm.
over the course of a month, because it has completely changed how I operate, who I
Hmm.
be, and from that space, the action that I take in my life now.
Hmm.
Um, and the other thing that this is kind of completely separate, going back to your clients, and you can tell me if I'm off base here. However, I heard in what you said that there's also this like needing to perform as a coach. Like, my client brings a thing and I need to have the question ready for them.
Hmm.
And if we are mirroring each other back and forth, then you are potentially putting in the space this idea that your clients also need to like perform a coaching request. So in
Hmm.
you not giving yourself the time, that is not wrong, not bad, you process. Great, you process. And by allowing you to process, what is that going to open up for your clients who might be going to the fix it coaching request, or might say that they can't come up with a coaching request, but it's actually just because they're not giving themselves time to process either, and time to really like listen and get to the heart of what they need.
Beautiful. Love that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Um, I feel like so much gold in there. Um, and something to definitely look at with who am I being. I think that a lot of this has shifted with my clients even in the past couple of months, but as I shift my being, and I think that the MCC training has super helped with that, like to really allow for silence and allow for reflection. And you know, I've noticed that it's taken a couple of sessions for each of my clients to really be with that. But I can be with that and be curious about it too, which can open something up. Um, there was something that you said earlier that really struck, uh, and I lived with it for a minute. Now it's called. What did you start with?
Um, the idea that velocity might not be from this week to
Mm,
next week, but we're also serving future versions of ourselves by building these habits.
ah, yes, yes. This future versions of ourselves, and you said something about like I could dwell on, I could think about this for 10 years, or I could go ahead and do it. And it struck for me that I think that I have a, there's something for me, and I'm almost scared of doing it now and not letting it take 10 years. It's almost like I need to, it's like the idea of having something to look forward to
Mm,
that's actually playing against my what I want. That it's like, well, let's drag this out. What the hell? Why? Why?
great question.
Yeah. 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 I got that as I was as you were talking about it. So it is. It seems like I play against myself in that way. And there's some sort of fear underneath all of this of if I have it all now, then what?
Mm,
And that doesn't feel empowering for me. It doesn't feel like, oh, and then the sky's the limit. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I don't want to achieve all of my dreams.
if I have my dream life, then what will I look
Then what
forward
will
to?
I look forward to? Yeah. Um, which is very interesting to say. And especially with as much work as I feel like I've been doing with trying to be present, I get so much out of looking forward to. So great news. That's what I'm bringing to my next. We have created a coaching request, kind of.
It took
We've at
about
least
30
created a
minutes.
topic.
Took
Yep,
about 30 minutes, so you know yourself.
sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Well,
Yeah.
and I do want to put in because I don't want to not acknowledge some of the current reality of things. Like there's a lot of research around the neuroscience of anticipation.
Mhm.
And um like what I'm hearing is that in that if it's in that space of like, well, if I have everything, then like what is there to look forward to? That is coming from a victim mentality of like, oh, well, I'll like have everything and then there will be nothing. It's like, okay, then fucking create something. Like, like you are a power. And I'm not saying this is royal you. I'm not,
Yeah.
speaking to you. I think that there are a lot of people who can get something from this. It's like, okay, so sounds like you need to build a muscle around generating things to look forward to because that's something that's important not only to your
Hmm.
brain but that we have learned is important to the human brain, that
Hmm.
having something to look forward to often is more powerful than actually having the thing. And so keep giving yourself things to look forward to. Know that you have the power and the creativity, even if you have your 100% dream life, couldn't have imagined it any better. You are still a whole, perfect, complete, resourceful person who could say, like, oh, and from this place where I have everything I could ever dream of, now I can dream of something new. And I choose to do that because I know how important it is for me to have something to anticipate. This is actually really important for me and my development and my enjoyment of what I have now.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. It, I notice how even as you say it, that's my,
Oh,
mm, yeah. It feels, I can hear it and it sounds really good. And as you say it, I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Not for me. But that's not true. It's just that, oh man, this is at the heart of what's going on, I think, here is that I am scared that it's not even that my creativity is run out. It's that well, if I have this life that I could do anything, I'm in it bored. Like I already start, I'm like, yeah, I was telling you about this trip, and I'm like, what? Since when am I not excited to take a trip? Like, that's weird. But I haven't been inspired in that way. Like some of the things that I feel like I used to anticipate and that I used to get excited about, they aren't the things that are necessarily lighting me up. But there are other things that are lighting me up. It's just shifting, of what a reward is or what the piece that's drawing me to it is.
Mhm.
It, but I think that that's going to take some more fleshing out and really being with that. That's the thing now, or that's what I want, or um, what I uh, what what motivates me, right? My motivation. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
shifting. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that just like ties right back to coaching requests
Yeah.
because it's really easy to come and be like, we need to talk about what flight I'm going to book and where the Airbnb
Mm-hmm.
is going to be and all these logistics. And it's like, okay,
Mm-mm.
we're at point A and you're talking about the next step and why, like what point
Mm-hmm.
are you creating? How is this going to serve it? And if it's not going to serve it, then why are we even talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to identify.
I knew bringing this here was going to be the way that I was going to open some of this up. Thank you so much for being with me with this.
Oh, thanks for bringing it.
Yeah. And I mean, golly, again, we're not really sure about who, who's watching this or what you're getting out of it, but I mean, if you got something out of it, let us know. We would love to know what we should talk more about,
Yeah.
and what is boring AF, to you out there. And maybe it's boring to somebody and not boring to somebody else, which is great.
Right.
Um, but we're just, yeah, tell us what you want us to talk more about.
I do really quickly. I want to put a
Mhm.
quick tag on this that I was thinking about is like, it just cracks me up that you're like, ew, 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 anticipation, ew, generating something to anticipate because that is, I love, I can sit for, I have so many, my husband and I don't have a kid yet and we're working on it. And I have so many ideas of like little things I'm going to build into our lives so that we can constantly have things to look forward to. And my husband hates stuff like that, drives him crazy. God bless him. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, Paul. um, that is something that comes easily to me. So when you have that reaction, I'm like, that's hilarious.
Mhm.
What is that? And that is why it is so important to have some sort of third party objective person outside of the melange of thoughts. Because to you, it's just normal to be like, oh, creating something to anticipate, creating something to desire, empowering my creativity that way, and talking to other people who don't have our life experience and our thought experience and be like, hey, that actually doesn't need to be normal. That actually doesn't need to be real because it's not real over here. So,
Ah, yeah. Nice. All right. It's Tuesday. We talked. I gotta run to another call.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm
Love you
gonna
very
stop
much.
this.